Hello, everybody. I'm Hannah Rakovich, for those that don't know me, but I'm pretty sure almost everyone here knows me. And I am the Psychology Club president. We are grateful to all of our amazing professors for taking this opportunity to give us some information. And first off, I want to talk about some things that are going on with Psychology Club next month on April 2nd. We are doing officer elections, and everyone here got a sheet that says what being an officer of Psych Club is like, what you'll be expected to do, and what that can do for your career in the future. And then April 9th, we're going to be in the library from 3 to 5 with GSA and Art Club, and we're going to be doing a Distress Fest for finals week, or the month before finals week. And that's all we have going on for the rest of this year. So if you want to get linked up with Psychology Club, time to do it. We have 3 open slots for sure for officers. So if that's something that you've wanted to do, this is the opportunity to do it. And today, starting out, we've got Josie and Makenzie.
Isn't Psych Club doing something really fun this semester that might entice people to want to join?
Oh, you mean going to RMPA? Yeah. So, so part of being part of Psych Club is you have the opportunity to fundraise and go to conventions. This year, we're going to Rocky Mountain Psychological Association, which is in Denver this year. Next year, it's going to be in Boise. And I had the opportunity to go and speak. So I'm going to have a presentation there, and I'm a finalist for an award. So that's one of the many opportunities that you get for being a part of the clubs here. So yeah.
What's the award?
It's an undergraduate award.
Oh,
for
undergraduate research.
Okay, cool. Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted them to know there were fun things about being a part of Psych Club.
Yeah, it's not all work. You know, some of the good things too, right, is Liz, what have you gained through?
Yeah, I've made like a ton of connections with really great students and staff here. Just for all of the events that I've done. I've also just gained really great skills in managing my own time and the things that I do. Double course load. I think the biggest thing though is really just going to conventions, getting to be involved with some.
Absolutely. And Liz, do you want to share your exciting news about school?
Oh, yeah, share that.
Definitely graduate school.
Yeah, so you don't have to actually speak to go to these conventions. You can go without the speaking part.
Yeah, the year before the officers went to Seattle for the APA National Conference, so.
And next year, RMPA is in Boise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot more accessible for people.
One year it was in Hawaii when I took students. I'm trying plans for it to be in Hawaii anytime soon, but yeah, that was a perk year for me.
That would be fun.
Anyway, sorry.
Even if you don't want to be an officer necessarily, I'd still really recommend to come to the officer elections because you can get involved just as a member and you'll be able to vote on the officers. So come and hang out.
Great way to get involved.
Yeah, and we need people on committees, even if you don't want to do officer membership. We have
The social media committee, so that's involved with posting all of our events and stuff online and then managing fun photos that we take at the events too. And we also do a fundraising committee where you get to bring up your own ideas for how to make money and
So yeah, just putting that in everyone's brains. We'll see on the 2nd. And then we have Makenzie and Josie here from the Career Success Center, and they're going to give you guys some knowledge today.
Thank you. Hey, on that note of getting involved with the club, so that's also a great experience to be putting on your resume. And if you're looking for an opportunity for some fundraising, each year we host the Fall Career Fair. And last year we made a donation to the tennis team to help us set up and take down the tables. So, and it wasn't just $50 either. It was a nice chunk of money to come in and help us with that. As you know, we're a 2-man office. We have 3 student employees, but If any of you have attended the fair, you know it's quite big. So we are always looking for volunteers. But last year we rolled out offering a donation opportunity, and it was a great fit. So we are definitely going to keep doing that. So keep us in mind if you're looking for something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we're always looking for fundraising. It'd
Yeah.
be fun to take a big group next year of involved students. So the more funds we can raise, the more people we can pay.
Yeah. Well, I'm Makenzie. I'm the director of the Career Center, and this is Josie. She's our program assistant. Our office, if you haven't visited us before, we are in sub 202. We help with all things career readiness related, so resumes, cover letters, practice interviews, job search. We have a free professional clothing closet in our office. So if you need something to wear to that conference that you're going to, you can come in, you can shop the closet. We do run on donations, so our items are usually, or they're typically gently used. Some are brand new. We have a huge selection right now. So definitely encourage you to come in and shop the closet if needed for, you know, not the convention, the conference, interviews, the career fair, things like that. We also oversee the Handshake platform. Has any of you logged into Handshake? Yeah, three of you? Okay, cool. When you logged in, was it 4 years ago as a freshman when you first started? Uh-huh. Okay, let's show you something here.
Good question. Or you can minimize it, yeah. Let me just get rid of it. Do a new window.
So I went in today and edited my my preferences as if I was a psychology student. And anytime you do that, it's going to start auto-populating opportunities that are tailored to what.
Oh, I didn't want your login to come up in front of.
It's like you, it's, okay. And then,
And so if you've not logged in, you're just gonna use your single sign-on email and password that you use for everything else. So that keeps everything straightforward. It's even easier if you go into your Warrior Hub and open Handshake directly from there, because then it'll already associate with your account. You won't have to worry about, you know, your password, your email, all that. It'll just be linked and attached to that account. Oh, yes.
Is there somebody in the waiting room?
No, I forgot to share the screen.
Thank you. You're welcome. Oh. Okay, so when you log into Handshake for the first time, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions to get to know you so it can better serve you on this platform. I've already done that part. So this is what my landing page looks like. Top job picks here. And I tried to just choose like a variety of places. But so right now it's showing me, you know, some highlights from in Seattle. We can do a few more. And the nice thing about Handshake is that ideally the opportunities that you're seeing on here should be, you shouldn't find a job on here that says bachelor's degree plus 5 years experience. The employers who are on here know that the audience are soon to be graduates or recent graduates. So they should be opportunities that you are qualified for. If you have logged in before and you need to update your settings, over here, you click on your little face, and then you can go into researches, and then you make your edits. It's a little like Amazon. Once you start clicking around on jobs or different opportunities, it's going to kind of get a feel for what you're liking and what you're clicking, and then it's going to start suggesting jobs for you. We also have the Career Center tab here, which has some resources. If you need to work on your resume, we've got a resume template here. This also links out to our career readiness guide that Josie has made for us, and it's so awesome. I'm going to show it to you from a different screen though. Yes. Okay, so from the main webpage, I just usually go up to search and put in Career Center. But if you go to Student and Alumni Resources, we have our LC State Career Readiness Guide out there. And it opens up. It's got a few different resources. So what is a resume? And then there's a resource here, right? So it has different tips along the way. Josie made this. I'm going to let her drive you through this guide because it's awesome. And oops.
She lets me drive and then I go somewhere I don't want to go. All right, so like Kenzie said, it's right here on our webpage. You can even full screen it and click through it like this. So anything you see on here that flashes like that just did, it will open out to, different links. So this one goes directly to, our LCSC handshake page. We have a 4-year career roadmap. This is a general look at steps you can take over your 4 years, but it's not one size fits all. You might find yourself as a senior and maybe you've done a bunch of this stuff, but you didn't do one of these. That's okay. We can just go back and, work on that anytime we need to. But that's a good look as a freshman to take a peek at. And then, we've got all about resumes. See that one flash. That one links out to an article about how long employers typically look at resumes, which is about 6 to 7 seconds. So you want your stuff to stand out. I mean, that is, you would think like, 6 to 7 seconds. I'm sure that's not true. I have been on hiring committees and looked through stacks of resumes, and it really is about like 10 seconds of, okay, let me skim. Okay, yeah, I see something that's worth coming back to. I'm going to put that in my keep pile. Skim. Yeah, nope, that's not a winner. So you want your stuff to stand out. Then you've got some more resume sections. This example template that we use. This is available on our handshake to go out and download for yourself, and then you can just edit right in it. You don't have to fuss with formatting, anything like that. And then, we have a cover letter, what a cover letter is, what the format should look like. It should match your resume, should have the same header. It looks really nice. If your documents get separated, it's easy to put that out together because they're all going to look the same across the top. Making positive first impressions. So we have our closet that Kenzie talked about. You can make an appointment to come in and shop the closet, or you can just drop in. Some interview tips. You can schedule a mock interview with our office. If you know exactly what you're interviewing for, we would invite you to share the job description with us, and we will tailor that experience to be as accurate as we can make it. It won't be perfect. Sometimes we're dealing with mock interviews in industries that we're not familiar with, but we try our best. But if you just want to do a general, hey, I haven't interviewed in a couple of years, I want to run down the basic questions, we can do that too.
And we also help after you graduate. So if it's September and you're like, oh my gosh, I really want this job and I need to practice, reach out. We are here for you even as alumni after you've graduated.
So then networking, online presence, both of these link to websites. This one's about the hidden job market. So the hidden job market is this idea that up to 60% of jobs aren't posted publicly. They're filled through connections. So, if it seems like, hey, I'm looking for jobs and there is nothing out here, it's out there. It's just not getting posted because people have, networks, and, that's not meant to scare you or discourage you, but just encourage you to, make your networks, make your personal connections. And as college students, that starts with, making these relationships with your professors. So, all of you, I see that you have a network right here in this room. But, continuing to expand that beyond college and getting to know people that your professors and your faculty know, and just, branching out as you.
Such as joining the club,
Yes.
going to the conferences, getting involved.
Yes.
Right.
Doing internship.
Yes. Online presences. So obviously we're gonna, promote Handshake. It's that student first job platform. Lots of students do have questions about LinkedIn, especially as they get closer to graduation. So we've got some things on there about LinkedIn. You're obviously more than welcome to come in and work with us, one-on-one on making sure your online presence is the way that you want it to be. This one links out to an article about, keeping your social media professional and the value of that when you're looking for jobs. A little bit about making the most about your college experience, in relation to your career success, about our career readiness credential, which is a digital badge that you can earn through out of the classroom experiences, all that relate back to essentially 8 soft skills that all employers value, things like communication, leadership. There's 8 of them, but on the spot, can't name all 8 for you. And if you guys are ever interested in checking your progress towards this credential, you can check it in Do More. If you find yourself, in Do More and you're kind of lost or like, oh, I don't know where to find this, or I don't know if this looks right, come in our office. We can help you with that too. When you're going to like club meetings like this, make sure that you're signing in on Do More, because that's what gets you credit towards this credential. Any sort of on-campus event that you're going to, make sure that you're signing in, checking in, whether they have a QR code, or if they don't have some sign-in thing set up. I have even told students, like, take a selfie when you're there so that when you come into our office and say, oh, I went to like
The powwow.
yeah, I went to the powwow, and I go, okay, let me go check your Do More profile, and you haven't signed in there. And, I trust you. I do believe that you went, but it's hard for me to run on just words, like I don't want students to begin to take advantage of being able to come in the office and say, oh, well, I went to this event, So even if you have a picture of you there that you can say, oh, I didn't get signed in, but look, I was here. Okay, great. I'll give you credit for that.
Or the students that go to the conference. We would be glad to create an event in Do More, which not everybody would be able to see. We wouldn't have to make it public. And if you provided us a roster of everybody that went to that conference, we would be glad to give them credit towards the career readiness credential for participating in that.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be considered like a networking, networking experience, networking opportunity. And for things like that, you should absolutely get credit towards the credential just because it's not offered, on our campus. If you have to travel to do so, you're still gaining skills from that. So you should absolutely be able to, take something away, for this credential. And then we just have a brief overview of our services. So our appointments, all sorts of career preparation, our interview practice, some of our main events. We have our fall career fair in October. We've got, workshops that we offer year round. Some we do personally, some we bring employers in to speak. We had the Northwest Children's Home visit last week, 2 weeks ago. And we have lots of different industries join us. And, sometimes it can be interesting to branch out and go check out an employer that you think, oh, I would never work in computer science. But, I want to go see what that's like. You never know what kind of people they're hiring in different industries if you don't go out and talk to people. So, there's my little plug for all of our workshops, info sessions, employer spotlights, like I mentioned, and then all of our contact details on the bottom. You can always email us. We both have, obviously, our own personal email addresses that you can get a hold of us as well. But both of us and our student employees have access to this office email. You can call us. We do have an Instagram that we occasionally post like our events on, behind the scenes looks with our employers, things like that. So
We also, this year, we extended our hours. So on Tuesdays, we do offer evening hours from 5 to 7.
Yeah.
So know that that's an option too.
another cool resource out here on our website, it's still on the student and alumni page. If you scroll below the guidebook, we have a list of resources, different links you can go out to. So some of these are the same that you're going to see in the guidebook or on the handshake, things like resumes, cover letters, interviews. But do you want to look at this one or what can I do?
I'll do, what can I do?
Okay. So we have this other resource called What Can I Do with This Major? And you can only access this from our website. If you go looking it up just on Google, it won't let you in because we paid for a subscription to this service. So you have to access it from our page. But if you go out here, it is what it's called. It's What Can I Do with This Major? So go out here. You can look up psychology because maybe you're at a point where you're like, oh, I don't want to do like maybe the mainstream jobs that I hear about in psychology, but I really love my degree. I want to see what else is out there. All these different avenues you can go down with your psychology degree. And if
Click
you
on psychology.
click on this,
There you go.
then all these career paths, different employers you can look at. If you want to work for the federal government, the state government, if you want to work for outpatient clinics, private practice, lots of different things. And then, go out and explore all these different, there's lots of links within these. Which one goes out to
Oh, that one that I clicked on.
here?
I don't remember.
If you play around with this, we just got the subscription recently as well, so we haven't learned all the ins and outs. So if you guys go play with this on your own time and you find something that you're like, wow, this is awesome, let us know, because there's a chance that we haven't figured that out yet. And we would be happy for you to tell us, like, oh my gosh, I went out and it linked me to this. It was really cool. Like, you should be showing other students this. Like, I don't know, I'll go out to Occupational Outlook for Human Resource Specialists. And it takes me to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So you can see all sorts of stuff. Hey, the education you're going to need, how many jobs there were in 2023, just tons of information. So that's why I say go mess with it, when you have your own time, because there is really so much to look at on this website that I could probably spend your entire session digging through here. Yeah.
Psychology as well. LCSC offers a class. It's Psych 407, and it's a professional development. It's 1 credit once a week, super quick class. And we spend half of the time in that class going over different fields of psychology and different jobs that you can get in them. Some of them are at the bachelor level, some of them are at the master's and doctorate level, but it's just a really big class to give you a good idea of what's out there. And then the other half of the class is also centered around self-care and different methods for self-care, since it's such an important part of this field. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, awesome.
So here's all this, plenty of links to go through. Do you want to go over on that?
I think so.
Okay.
You guys have any questions? Any other questions or thoughts? Do you all graduate in May? Are you guys getting ready? Are you seniors? No. Good. Okay. Perfect.
Makenzie, what's the thing you wish most that students knew about getting a job?
That I don't think that there's any experience that all experiences are valuable. You mentioned working at Little Caesars.
Oh, Sodexo.
Sodexo. Okay, working at Sodexo. You may think, oh my gosh, this has nothing to do with what I'm going, my future career and whatever psychology path I choose. I feel like I could argue that. I think that there are a lot of transferable skills that are necessary in any and all careers. Yes, working as a team, being able to work independently or with others, following directions.
Crisis management.
Yes, yes, there's so much value.
Resolution.
Mhm. I feel like we meet a lot of students who come in and sometimes they feel a little shy to share, oh, I work at McDonald's or I work at Walmart. I'm like, say it loud and proud. Like, that's great. Someone hired you. You show up on time. You contribute to the goal of the organization. Don't be ashamed on my book because I think it's great. So I think just remembering the value of all of your experiences, joining the Psych Club, you might be like, oh, I don't know if I have any, much time for that. I can assure you, even if you are just a member, starting to build that network now is really, really valuable. And someone you meet, maybe someone later that helps you get you to where you want to go. And I definitely encourage you to get involved, take advantage of the opportunities that you can, and truly know that all of your experiences, whether you think it's specifically translate into your future career, they are valuable. Anything you want to add, Josie?
I think so. We hit important stuff.
Okay.
Like I said, we could go all
Go
day.
see them.
Yes, no, please do. It's really awesome. We've worked with some really great students these last few weeks. We've been doing a ton of practice interviews, which has been really neat. A lot of students, that at least I've met with, they have never interviewed before or had a job before. And so seeing them come in and, they're a little nervous and sometimes I can feel that. So I'm like, okay, how about you ask me the question now? And then I answer and they're like, okay, I want to try again. After I heard you answer it, let's try again. So also if there's ever a time where you're like, oh, I'm too nervous, I don't want to go in there, I'm embarrassed, bring a friend, bring who you're comfortable with. We'll sit down, the 3 of us, the 4 of us.
Right.
We really do try to meet you where you're at, in all areas. So any kind of mock interview, or if you're gearing up for an interview and we can do a practice one, if your first interview is going to be Zoom or virtual, let's do the practice interview virtual. Or if it's going to be on the phone, let's do it that way. And what's that word? Josie?
I always say it's very low stakes.
Yes.
Like, don't come in thinking, that, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up my interview question and she's going to think that I'm bad at this or whatever. This is the place to mess up. You don't want to, let that stop you and go into your real interview with no preparation or practice and then walk out of that feeling like, oh, I just messed up the real thing. We don't care if you mess up, and really you're not messing up. You're finding your way to, a more refined answer. But I have plenty of students who ask them a question and they're like, oh, I have no idea what I would say to that. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. Let's talk a little bit about what you do. Have you ever done a group project in class before? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, well, we can make that work. And then we talk through it and they're like, oh, I see now. So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel great to, feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't want to have the right answer. We don't, we're not going to judge you. We would rather help you work through that and you leave feeling like, oh my gosh, I can totally answer that question now. And then come back 2 weeks later and say, hey, I went to the interview and I aced it and they called me today and they offered me the job. Like, we love that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so personally invested in every student that comes in, probably a little too much. I'm like, okay, I need to take some distance from this because I feel like, oh man, I hope they do really well. I'm sort of up, at night thinking like, oh, I know the student told me they had the interview today and they haven't emailed me, they haven't come by. I hope they did well, So,
and you're going into an interview to sell yourself. And it's like, okay, I know me best, but answering the first question, the usual typical question, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you're like, huh, blah, blah, oh my gosh, what do they really want to know? And it's hard to feel confident and comfortable and like, oh my gosh, did I say, the wrong thing, the right thing, too much, too little, all of those things. And so just knowing that we just genuinely are a resource for you now and after you graduate, come in and practice, come in and celebrate any of those things.
And we have, work tables. Feel free to come in. And if you're like, I want to work on my resume, but I think I want to work on it independently, but can you check it? That's fine. We have students that come in, they work a little bit by themselves. They pop back in and say, can you take a look at it now? Yeah, sure. We make some edits. They sit back down, they make some more edits because we have that workspace in our office. So, if you just want, maybe less of a one-on-one with them and sit down and just want a dedicated workspace for career stuff to have somebody, on hand to ask. If you have a question, feel free to come in and do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Resume template card if you guys want one, and then some of our cards too. So,
And who's our next speaker?
yeah, thanks for having us.
Stop by and read you sometime.
All right, so let us know how the conference goes.
Oh, yeah, I will, absolutely. All right, everyone, and you're probably
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Incredible professors, but we have Dr. Rust here to continue our information.
And just be right here, we have 60 minutes left for the last 4 speakers.
We don't have an Elmo?
The owl thing? What's an owl?
Here.
Projector.
Oh,
Oh, those things.
no, I don't think we do.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
Well, you want is most likely on Teams, and we can pull up a digital copy of it, Terry. You want to talk, and I'll see if I can find it digitally. Which one is it?
Oh, she found the,
Are you gonna? You
I
want?
want her to project.
Let's do it her way.
What do you want? That's fine. I'm just offering.
Way.
Okay. I thought you might want to do that.
This is like me trying to do an online lecture.
Elmo, I did not know those things had names. They're like a big bird and
It
a
says Elmo, right?
count. Oh, it's really French.
That, so let's see if anybody has a question.
No, I said it to Dr. Cameron.
It didn't say on that. Is it turned on? That camera, oh, use the phone to open the camera. App on the computer. Oh. I see, it's telling me how to. Just. Why?
5 annoying misconceptions about studying psychology.
I don't understand.
They have that in. Psychology students can read minds. You ever told anyone that you're studying psychology and they say, don't read my mind, or don't analyze me?
Yes,
What do you say to that? Back to that.
I can read minds, but it's completely unrelated.
What about don't analyze me?
I just feel like I ain't got time for that.
Too late. I know it's graduating with a psychology degree makes you a psychologist. No, that requires the graduate degree. Yeah. Licensing.
Yeah, I was gonna add, when they had handshake up there and the search term they used was psychologist, and that is not the search term you should use because that's gonna pull up graduate degrees. So psychology major, psychology graduate, but just don't put psychologist because that's a state regulated term. So it's not gonna pull up something for a bachelor's person.
Okay, this is the one that drives us all crazy. A psychology degree is useless. You can't get a job with a bachelor's degree in psychology, and it is not true. My parents both graduated from college with degrees in education. Neither one of them taught for more than 5 years. They had a degree that prepared them to be a teacher. And 5 years in, neither one wanted to be a teacher anymore. With a degree in psychology, you have the background skills to work in any field that deals with people. And that's just about every field. Even if you are a carpet cleaner, you are still, even though you're there with your, got an idea of what I'm doing lately. Even if you're there with your carpet cleaning machine, 90% of your time is you and your machine. The other 10% of time is dealing with customers, dealing with clients, and psychology gives you skills for that. It is a degree for those who are academically weak. Our art classes, cakewalks?
Sure doesn't feel that way.
No.
It is starting to feel that.
No, I said it sure doesn't feel that
Oh,
way. Whoa.
And sort of a corollary, psychology graduates are unemployable. It's one of the most popular majors on college campuses. So they must be doing something when they're getting out there. Yeah. So you have in your handouts, if you pick them up coming in, the skillful psychology student. And this was alluded to from the folks from career readiness. Transferable skills. And critical thinking, creativity, adaptability. Like they were saying, if you work in food service, you know how to think on the fly. Because things go bang, 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 whether you're in fast food or a sit-down restaurant. And so recognize the skills that you are learning in the classroom, in your various internships, job sites, and how to effectively, think about it. How would you present to an employer that you have these skills?
Do you mind if I,
Go.
because there's such a great example of that. I had a student who had worked in food service like 3 or 4 years. She was writing that she loved it. She loved the pace. She loved the people, like all of these things about food service. And I said, well, go into crisis intervention. Like, do you know what the Red Cross or FEMA would give for somebody who loves a fast-paced atmosphere, who has to deal on the fly and make decisions really quickly? She's like, I never thought about that. If that's what you're doing, is crisis intervention. So anyway,
Yeah. Famous people with psychology degrees. Anyone ever heard of Hugh Hefner? Yeah. Playboy fame. Katharine Hepburn went to Bryn Mawr College. Gloria Estefan, University of Miami. Lil Wayne, psychology degree,
That's why you could.
University of Houston, then University of Phoenix. He had to transition to the online University of Phoenix because he was so busy career-wise. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show. Yeah, I'm gonna skip over Zuckerberg. You can't always, just because you have skills and power does not mean you use them always for good. Jerry Bruckheimer. What did Jerry Bruckheimer do?
He's too young for that. He produced 1,000 movies that made $1 gazillion.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Top Gun. CSI Crime Scene. Without a Trace. You guys know Marcia Cross? One I didn't know. She's an actress. Famous series Desperate Women. Cross left aside a few years her professional life to study, so she left actressing to study psychology and get her degree from Antioch University in Los Angeles. Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream. Jonathan Frakes, Star Trek. Jonathan Kellerman is an author. So there was a recommendation for a summer book read, and I read the book, and it was just like when the ending was just totally inconsistent. And I went online, and all the other people are going online going, nobody would behave that way. Yeah. You got to understand how people really behave. That was a dumbass thing. So. One more. There's another table that we provided for you. Skills that you're learning academically and how they translate into skills that employers want. So group projects, that's teamwork, it involves problem solving, it involves communication, flexibility, being able to, change and adapt. Now, for any of these things, I'm not going to read the whole table to you, but my note at the bottom, make your case by stating specific instances presented as behaviors. Don't just tell an employer that I have good writing skills. No, say I wrote grants for Psychology Club that received funding for travel to a national conference, $1,000, and for Black History Experience, $800. Get specific. Everybody's going to tell them they have good communication skills, that they have good writing skills. I work well with other people. But bolster it with specific evidence. You're going in, think of a job interview as a court case. You need to present your evidence for why you're the person for the job.
Thank you, Dr. Russ.
Professional development, you make your CV or your resume in class as well, and you get feedback on that from the students and teachers. So that's pretty cool.
Dr. Parker is,
No, that's what we were wondering. But he had two things for me. One of them was a handout. Oh, where psychology graduates have found work.
oh, okay.
That's on the top. They should all have a copy of that.
Okay, so on the front is career options with a bachelor's degree in psychology. And then I literally just sat down and thought, see, I've been here 25 years. Where do I know that students have gotten jobs? And I was able to get this down in like 5 minutes. We've never had trouble with students getting a job, no matter what you might hear. So anyway, just a quick demonstration that even locally, your degree is very marketable. And I'm sure I missed some. Don't bother, I'm done. There it is.
Sorry.
No.
I like tried to get back to the 5 minutes ago.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you, just another, you're probably going to feel like it's a fire hose of resources, but there's just so much out there that a lot of folks planning on entering the workforce with a bachelor's degree don't realize. This is the website for the American Psychological Association. There are things that are only accessible for members, but the student membership rate is very low. But even if you don't want to join APA, there's still plenty. So if you go over here to the search, and I just typed, let's see, bachelor's job. And you'll see the very first thing is preparing to use your bachelor's degree in psychology. You click on that and it brings you to a web page that has a ton of resources for you about how to use your skills degree and brand. And as you scroll down, try not to make people, there's 6 milestones. So the first one is what skills in your coursework are sought by employers. You've already got a handout for that, but there's some more ideas on here. And then they've got a couple of clickable links. There's actually guidelines for the undergraduate psychology major, and our program is consistent with APA's recommendations for undergraduate education. So you can click on that. And then what you can do with your degree in psychology. And they've got even some stats here, but also other career possibilities. I mean, it's a very versatile degree. I think that gets lost. Applied learning experiences. So these are things you might do. So I'm in charge of internships. You guys all do a senior research project. Courses involving significant writing. Take counseling theories or ethics and you'll write a plenty. And probably these guys have some too, but those are mine that are writing heavy for sure. Collaborative research projects, Psych 485 is involved with that. Anyway, there's a lot of these experiences to make you more marketable that are available through our program. This gets into what the career success folks were talking about of how to market yourself. Oh, I guess that's it. Maybe there's only milestone 4. Okay, there's only 4. Anyway, The point is that even on APA's website, a lot of people think that caters only to PhD psychologists, but they know that the backbone of our program, our field, are undergraduate majors. And so there are a lot of things, because even the national organization wants you to be successful as well. So happy to walk through and explore some of this with you if it would be helpful. Just know that it's available. Any questions? Anybody a student member of APA? Okay.
Join while it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think membership is $30 for student membership.
A year or?
A year.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, and there are a ton of benefits.
There are a ton of benefits, yeah.
I think you can even show, while you're on there, do you want to do a quick show them the student, or APA, or I can,
I thought you were gonna talk about divisions.
oh,
So what were you gonna?
oh, they have a student, the student membership, okay.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna,
So there's an old, while she's calling that up, there's a story, a graduate or a psychology professor walking down the street, encounters one of her previous students, and so they chat, and she says, so what are you doing these days? And he kind of sheepishly says, well, I'm not using my psychology degree. And she said, well, what are you doing? And he said, well, I started up my own software company. And she said, of course you are using your psychology degree. Psychology degrees are not just for counseling. But again, he uses it in his hiring, in dealing with his employees, in dealing with customers, in designing the software. Again, you have to understand how people are going to interact with that software.
Dr. Carstens-Namie found the page he was looking for. So this, you want to say any more about? Oh, $32.
oh, it's $32, yeah. They have, yeah, I'll go ahead and, well, I was gonna do, are you done with your stuff? I didn't. Well, yeah. Well, that was a great lead-in, right? APA is a great student, being a student member is a great way to understand your career options. And they have a lot of different opportunities. And remember when they were talking about networking, this is a great way to get opportunities also across it. So the dues are 32 annually. So I'm not going to play this. Oh, it's just only 33 seconds, but that wasn't what I was planning on doing, and we're short on time. So you guys can watch that on
Take a
your
breath, it's okay, we can.
Oh, you can?
Play it.
Undergraduate student affiliate member of APA will gain access to a wide array of personal and professional benefits,
Volume up.
including an understanding of psychology career options, updates on trends across psychology, advanced networking opportunities, discounts on APA books, videos, journals, and more, and the knowledge that your participation supports activities and programs that help move psychology and society forward. Become an undergraduate student affiliate member of APA today.
All right. So that is one way to start looking for jobs. And what I want to talk about next is how to look for jobs or what you're looking for. How many of you know exactly what you want to do with a bachelor's degree? One person. That's not usually very, right? Yay, good for you. Most people don't though, right? Most of you are like, I know I love psychology. I don't know if grad school is where I want to go. So you're kind of in that searching thing. So there's some different places that we can look at to help us get some ideas. Part of it is APA website, right? Go on there and look at some of the things and Handshake and some of the resources. But I also want you guys to start thinking about what kind of lifestyle you want. What kind of a job do you want? What jobs are out there, right? You can read the job, it says projected this % of growth and stuff like that. But what is really out there is it helps you to look, actually, even if you're not looking for jobs right now, it helps you to start looking at the job market and see what's out there to start preparing yourself. So the Idaho Department of Labor has this great site that, for job seekers, unemployment, people who are unemployed, if you do get unemployed and need that. So I'm gonna look at job seekers. Now, if you already know what you want to look up, then you can go there. But let's say that you're trying to learn, you know, we want to look at job training, kind of get an idea about maybe what they have available for services or what kind of jobs they have. So they have the services, but let's go to Jobscape. And we want to know, like, how do I even know what terms to search, right? Some things we might know what you are interested in, but most of the, like Washington State does this also, you can search for just job titles. And so that you can kind of get some search terms to help you narrow that down if you're really still kind of thinking broadly. And then once you, or if you want to just look at, okay, let's just see what occupation, and you can, if you know a job title that you want to look at, then you can, or let's just say psychology. Did I write that right? No, I can't type when people watch me. It's weird. It is bizarre. Okay, so we're just gonna look up psychology. We'll do filters and we're just doing a general search term. So we want to look for bachelor's degrees, you can apply that. And then, so here's some basic general job titles. Psychiatric technicians. I'm not sure what all they require, but you can view, it talks about it a little bit. And then you can see what jobs they have and what they require. I think that these actually have a specific.
Well, we have one student who's working as a psych tech at State Hospital North.
Okay.
And then you might even at St. Joe's, well.
I work as a psych tech, yeah.
Is that your title, psych tech?
If you have your CNA at St. Joe's, it's psych tech. If you don't have a CNA, it's psych aid, but it's the exact same thing now.
Okay, right. So here's some jobs for psych techs, right? With, or let's see, let's go back to that opened up. Let's go back to psychology as just a general search. Do the filter for bachelor degree so that we're not wasting our time on things that need other degrees, right? So there's like social and human services assistants or health. See, this is gonna be more like, I don't know how psychology degree fits in that, but social and human services, that talks about different areas. And then job openings, right? And then you can view. But let's say we do, okay, so let's say that we do want to look at a specific type of occupation. So let's look at, what am I thinking? Victim advocate. So for a victim advocate, psychological, or the bachelor's degree, then we've got different jobs. Social and human services assistants. Then you can view, so it breaks it down by what type of jobs, right? So this is a good way to kind of get some ideas if you don't know specifically what is out there, right? Social service technician, social services assistant, or let's see, let's research case management.
I'll pick the handout for this. With the screenshot.
She chose to.
I just thought we had a lot, like we were all.
I was just curious.
So, and then filters, bachelor's degree, and then here's actual, some other ones, right? So that, I don't know why they'd say that, why it says so. So this is a nice search tool. And then if you, like I said, if you want to know exactly, okay, find a job opening, we know exactly what we want. We don't want to mess with that kind of stuff. You know, you want to work in, what is something that you're, one of you guys have, what, something that was mentioned today that some of you, one of you are interested in?
Behavioral health specialist.
Okay. And I know why you want to know, right? You want to share?
And my plan as of now is to apply for a job with Could Help, behavioral health specialist. So,
Right? And you're already working there, right?
yeah, I was a PSA last summer, so.
Yeah. So behavior interventionist. Click on that. As 2 years of pediatric experience preferred, but a lot of times, one of the things that the psychology degree does, especially a bachelor's, a lot of times can help you with some of that experience if they only want a high school experience as well. Especially if you do internship, right? Did you do internship at Kootenai?
No, not at Coogee, but I do.
Okay.
They would hire you in a second if you wanted to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So that's Idaho. Yeah.
I've been talking to folks at CSAC and they said they would hire me as a clinician. Or you can,
Where?
to prescribe, but you can work with people as a clinician. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is going to be what's important in it. Wash it. So, and you can find not just state type jobs for that, depending on what you want to look at. You can also find, they have all different types of jobs that was posted on these state websites. For Washington, there is, oh, you know what? I almost forgot with Idaho. One of the things that if anybody is an adult, or where is it?
I'm almost an adult.
Huh? An adult or displaced worker. Job seeker services. Where is it? I think I had it all written down here. I can't find it. It was adult, okay, job training. It says training, but adults and dislocated workers. This is what you, that thing that you got, that Leanne, that you had. What is it called? Where is it? Equus Workforce Solutions. So anybody, if they are in like dislocated, like if you're in a program where you're getting retrained and stuff like that through the program, these people you can work through and get help too, if you're a dislocated worker or anything like that. So that's through Idaho. That's how that connects. So it is through the Labor Department of Idaho. All right. Yeah, now Washington also. Now Washington, those of you that want to work, and most states will have these kind of Department of Labor stuff. So state jobs with Washington is Washington.
While she's doing that, just so you know, anyone who wants to see a handout that has all the URLs for those 3 websites can just email me, rmbarnes@lcsc.edu, and I will send you digital copies of all the handouts we had, plus other handouts that we did not actually print out for you. And you can tell your fellow psychology majors that email me as well. I'm not stingy with the digital information.
Yeah, and so like, yeah, in fact, Dr. Barnes is the one that gave me the original links. So Worksource Washington is the same, is Washington's answer to what we just looked at Idaho. And they have a dashboard, you sign in, you can save jobs. There are workshops and hiring events. If you find yourself, this is the other thing, if you find yourself reviewing jobs and going, well, I really need maybe this additional certification or workshop or this other stuff. A lot of times if you're going through states and you want to work for that state, they'll have workshops and hiring events that you can go to as well online. And then here's an occupation search, and you could just, if you want to just get right to the jobs, go to the job seekers. And I don't have an account, but you do have to sign up for an account. But that's how these general ones. And so I looked up a few, but I just don't think we have time. I got to get done. But some of the different things like that you can find on there is like case manager for a jail transition. I found in Wenatchee, jail transition expert, 22 to 26 per hour. Clinical coordinator in Idaho Falls, 47,000 a year. So there are jobs in Washington and Oregon, and there's a whole bunch more. Those were just two examples. There's a whole bunch more with just your bachelor's that, depending on what field you're interested in, it can be applied just about anywhere and help you succeed in it. Most employees want the psych degree.
Thank you. All right, I think I assumed I would notice I would know everyone in the room. There's actually a few people here that I had as students. So Professor Ralph Barnes, good to meet you all. I don't think I'm going to spend a huge amount of time here, but I am going to talk about human resources as a career option because a lot of people don't realize how that career operates and what we need to go into it. So maybe we think we need a bachelor's or a master's degree in human resources, but technically, you can get into the career of human resources with just a high school diploma. I wouldn't recommend that though, because the starting salary would be low and it would stay low. But if you have a bachelor's degree, you get in at the bottom floor, and according to 2021 starting salary, the median starting salary is $41,000 a year. Not too good, but the way it works is there are tests you take online, and the study material is also provided online by the Human Resource Board. And it costs you $300 to $500 to take the test. And if you fail it, you just take it again. But if you keep leveling up, then you can move around. And the highest ranked job in HR has a median salary of about $124,000 a year. And that was in 2021 with inflation. I'm sure it's up there a little bit higher. But you can climb up the food chain if you are good at your job and you pass those tests, and either your company you're at promotes you and gives you a higher raise, or you go, if your current employer does not want to pass out any more money, then you take the fact that you've passed another one of the tests and you use that information to move on. There is a flyer for that tells you a little bit about the salaries available for HR. I do want to put out that just having a bachelor's degree in psychology is not necessarily the greatest thing. It's a little bit better if you have both a bachelor's degree in psychology and you've taken industrial organizational psychology. If you don't do that, you really don't. What's that? Course. Yes. Nice. Psych 281, which I teach. I'm plugging my own course here. That being said, for those who have taken industrial organizational psychology, how many people think it's a practical and valuable class? Raise your hand. See that? So there you go. But yes, if you take that course, then you will have a clue going into it. Otherwise, I mean, if you don't take a course like that or a class in business administration, the appropriate class in business administration, then it's going to be hard to get employed because all you're going to be able to say is, hey, I have a bachelor's degree. Well, a lot of people have a bachelor's degree. You take that course and all of a sudden you actually know a fair amount. There's people in HR that probably know less than some of my students. I'm kind of proud that I teach them what's going on with labor law, and every once in a while I look at what some companies doing, and I assume that they have people who are certified and skilled. I'm like, my students know better than these idiots. All right, makes me feel good. But so you have that one-page flyer about human resources here. So the best way to transition into that is technically a high school diploma would work, but then, like I said, you'd get peanuts, and you would still have peanuts when you're retired. But get a bachelor's degree, preferably in psychology, and take industrial organizational psychology as a course, or get an undergraduate degree in business administration. Those are the two best ways to catapult yourself into that career. And then, for anyone who's interested, all the various certificates that you take, all the tests that you need to pass, the order in which you take them, the cost for each of these, and so forth. I didn't make handouts enough for everybody, but I figured everybody wouldn't be interested, but anyone wants a handout that walks you through the whole process on how you survive in the HR career. Yeah. So that is,
24,000 a year is more than any of us make.
Yes.
And I only made 7 copies and I passed them all out. And remember, every single handout that we passed out today and some other documents that we didn't pass out, I've got those sitting on my computer, and I'm expecting that all the students who couldn't make it will email me and I will send that off to them. So if you want a digital copy or your friends do, tell them, let them know, hey, just email Barnes and I will send those along to you. I shouldn't really go into this but I'll very brief. But there's also a career, to really make even more money in HR or HR adjacent fields, you could get a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology. And that would be first getting a bachelor's degree in psychology, getting accepted into a terminal master's program, and then going off into that career. And though starting salary is not a median salary of 124, still the starting salary with a master's degree in IO psychology is considerably better than my current salary. So it's not a bad career, but this is about having a bachelor's degree only. So I will zip it and not say any more about that. I was also asked by Dr. Genthos to mention that her Psych 407 class, which I know it's been said before, but I will repeat it. It does give you training and help and assistance in terms of things like resumes, curriculum vitas, and interviews. And those are also, as it turns out, so you do get double duty because I do cover that stuff extensively in industrial organizational psychology. You do get a little bit different because I both teach you like how to write a good resume, a good cover letter, how to do a good interview. I come at it from that because almost all our students will need that. But I also come at it from the industrial organizational psychology. If you are in a company and you have to evaluate resumes, or you have to evaluate cover letters, or you have to evaluate interviews to see who you should select, we do cover that, which would probably not be something that Dr. Genthos would cover. So those are 2 courses, Psych 407 and Psych 281, that do give you preparation in things like resumes, vitas, interviews, and so forth. And that's what I've got to say.
That Psych 407 class is a fall only class, 1 credit hour. For new students who are coming in, starting last year, it's a required course. So for some of you, it might not be required for your psych degree, but that doesn't preclude you from taking it and benefiting from it.
I saw a hand.
One more thing I wanted to add, and this is Dr. Parker's wheelhouse, so correct or add anything too. But when I came into psychology, I initially thought that the only way to get into counseling specifically was to get a master's degree. But I found out that there's a couple avenues that you can go at the bachelor level, like substance abuse treatment and some group therapies, even are at the bachelor level. So you don't have to knock out counseling if that school is what's stopping you. So Dr. Parker teaches addiction counseling in the fall, and that was one of the most valuable courses that I've taken too. Recommend it.
Before I sit down, I want to say one extra thing to make sure everyone understands. Our job is not simply to put red ink on your exams and your term papers, but we are available to you if you have stuff that's not particularly relevant to a course you're taking with us at the moment, or if a given semester you're not taking any courses with us. If you have questions about graduate school or careers or whatnot, I would assume that we would all be happy to answer your questions over email or if you stop by our offices. But sometimes students, I think of the professors as having they're a more narrow focused resource than what we actually are. But and I assume everyone I work with is very happy to see you guys succeed. And if I've got any wisdom, I will pass it along. And there you go.
In that vein, though, also develop relationships with us and get to know us so that also we can help provide references also.
And I would
not just for grad schools, but for jobs.
I wouldn't have the opportunity to do RMPA if it wasn't for like having relationship with Dr. C and Dr. Genthos, because I'm not even presenting my own research. I'm presenting somebody else's research. And the only reason they thought of me is because they had already known what I was capable of. So it's good to have those
those relationships.
And you started in my class last year, yeah. And so we started looking for research for you then. So.
Should we now take a moment and say that if you have any questions for the faculty as a whole or any specific faculty, feel free to get them questions out and we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
No question. Any question?
So Dr. Parker mentioned the crisis intervention and crisis work, 911 operators. Knowing how to talk to somebody, how to keep steady yourself while the person on the other end of the line is freaking out. I've been the freak out person. Good skills. Psychology.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one question. For like vocational mental health counseling, what would you need to do for that? From what I understand, you need a master's at the minimum.
The voc rehab careers I know of do require a master's, but there, again, that Idaho Department of Labor website could be very useful. Because we have lots of students here who are going through voc rehab and it's paying for them to go to school. So absolutely, I would find out more about that because they might have entry-level jobs that a bachelor's person would be eligible for. But yeah, they can't, somebody contacted us literally within the last year or two. I think it was our local voc rehab office and said, we're desperate. Please send any students who would be interested in a career in voc rehab our way.
Bit more rare, but there are some jobs that have entry-level positions that will pay your way through grad school to get to those higher level positions.
Yeah. I talked to a couple at the career fair last fall that pay for master's and PhD degrees if you end up staying with them. So
Was SEL one of them?
it wasn't one of the ones that I talked to. I talked to Kootenai Health. I talked to another one in Coeur d'Alene. I can't remember what their name was.
And so. And then you both are got jobs, right? You guys are both seniors graduating and you're in jobs that you guys are getting trained in your jobs, right? For the next level. Yeah. I'm putting you guys on the spot, but do you want to share a little bit about how that's worked, either of you? The work on your jobs? Jaden, I told you I was gonna pick on you. Jaden's our secretary for Psych Club, by the way.
And if you want to, I'm going to be leaving. So if you want to get involved with the Psychology Club for next year or onward, definitely pay attention to our newsletters and email. We are going to be doing elections. What I'm doing right now is I am a community-based support for ABA therapy, working with children with autism. But I am going to be I'm getting RBT certified, which is a registered behavior technician. And you don't need a bachelor's to go into that. I mean, it looks a lot better if you do, but you just need to be 18, have a high school diploma, and you need to complete a 40-hour training and register on the BACB website. And you have to pay to take the exam, but it's only $50 and you have to pass it. And from then onward, you're going to be collecting data and working with children. And yeah, it's really rewarding. And if you enjoy being with children and not just like you can tolerate being around children, you need to really love children to get involved in this work. You need to have a lot of patience. But yeah, you can go right into that after you graduate. And if you want to be a BACB, which would be kind of a supervisor for RBTs, and that's when you actually diagnose and create treatment plans for children, then you would need a master's. But yeah.
The behavioral health specialist position at Kootenai is you can work with both adults and children, depends on the opening they have. And you kind of just work with people that are, they like enter the facility for treatment. So you just work with them on, mental health and skills on how to manage day-to-day life. And then of what I know, when you work at a state or federal program, if you're there for 10 years or just any state or federal program, they pay for your education. So that's.
We had State Hospital North come last year and do presentations in 2 or 3 different classes and a general one at lunchtime. And they were hunting. They need employees, and they said, you'd work with people with chronic mental health issues, and just interacting with them, playing games with them. And, it's a foot in the door, and your field of psychology, again, puts you head and shoulders above. That's what they were looking for. And I attended one of the very first Black History Month experience was a panel discussion. And one of the gems that I got out of that is if the difference between getting your bachelor's degree at Harvard and getting your bachelor's degree at LCSC is not the content that you learn. It's the networking. And so they're rubbing shoulders with other wealthy folk with connections in big corporations and empires. You're getting the same education that they are. You know as much as they do. So promote yourselves and take advantage of going to conferences and meeting folks from other institutions, and name drop a little bit. And when you go to an employer.
Exactly. If you want to work, there's, business stuff that you can get involved in the, like going for networking and stuff, going to business after hours and stuff like that, or things in the community to meet business people, or if there's a place you want to work that they have an open house, go there, meet people. Any opportunity for that.
So I have a quick question. This is only the second time we've done this information session, and I'm curious whether we covered things that you hoped we would, that you thought would be useful. Is there something we should add? I think we're really open to fine-tuning this to make it as useful for you as possible.
Kind of like an on-the-spot interview question that you prepared for.
What can we do better? How can we make this better for you?
You can send an email or shove an anonymous note under our doors.
Yeah, okay. I all sucked. I don't know. No, get rid of it all. No, just kidding.
I really liked what you guys presented. I think you, especially bringing in the career readiness folks, that really, really helped too. And then also with having other seniors with experience too, and sharing their experience is really good too.
So April, one of the things we thought about doing, but we're trying to cram so much, is pulling up a couple of local students who are working in jobs who graduated to see what they would say. It sounds like you think that would be beneficial.
I think it would be really beneficial because it's very grounding in reality, because you can talk about it all you want, but somebody who's in the community who has successfully gotten a job, I mean, what's better than having them talk about it?
First-hand experience. That's why I picked on you too. That way, if anybody had any questions, they can ask you all right here. Awesome. Well, if anybody has any other ideas or thoughts, feel free to email any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. And on your way out, we have cold pizza.
Thank you all for coming.
Tomorrow.
Breakfast on the board, right?
Don't worry about it.
And I don't hate it. Yeah. Expert. I don't need that.